YouTube, I've been meaning to do this video for a while now, ever since I bought the game like 2 or 3 months ago, though I just haven't had the time, and now I do, or did. And after playing this game as a relatively new Resident Evil fan, one who started off this franchise with the Resident Evil 2 remake, I think I can confidently say this game desperately needs the whole remake treatment. Hold on, pause. I recorded this before the Summer Games Fest, so I didn't know about this reveal, Code Veronica being the next remake, a game I've never played, by the way, and one I may play, I don't know, but never mind that. So what you're about to hear from past me is completely wrong. Oh, and before I unpause, Final Fantasy VII Part 3 has also been revealed, and I will be doing a review for that, along with for Rebirth. That's a little later though. Yeah, I'm paused. And if the leaks are to be believed, this is the next game that will be getting the remake treatment. And holy hell, does this game need one. But that's enough of this yap. Oh, and before I forget, minor spoilers, nothing major. Let's get on with the... Unlike today's Resident Evils, Zero isn't a over-the-shoulder modern-day shooter, but instead it is a classic era, fixed camera angle, tank-controlled bullshit, and yes, I mean bullshit. I don't know why motherfuckers to this day claim this is better or in any way superior than the over-the-shoulder games. They must be out of their damn mind. They have to be pulling a Sage and lobotomizing themselves. Now wait. Before y'all come at me with your pitchforks, I do know this is one of the less well-received Resident Evil games from this fixed camera angle era, so it very well may just be this game. I do plan on playing Resident Evil 1 relatively soon, and that game I know is loved, so it very well may change my opinion, and maybe these systems are implemented better, but I won't know until then, so yeah. Enough of that though, let's not get too sidetracked because I've still yet to talk about this game's unique gameplay gimmick. I don't know exactly what to call this feature. Well, I guess I can just call it a feature, but I don't know. This game, like many other Resident Evil games, has 2 playable characters. Though unlike the others, Zero doesn't do 2 different storylines, or in Resi 2's case, 2 separate interconnected storylines that unlock a true secret ending. Instead, you have one storyline that allows you to seamlessly swap between characters at any point in time, and in some cases during major story beats, you must decide who must conduct a specific task. For example, in the very beginning of the game, in the train section, you must decide between Rebecca or Billy and decide who stays in the conductor's room and who races to the back of the train to switch on the brakes. And while yes, these decisions don't really have a real impact on the overall story, they do get you thinking about who's best suited for whatever job. Now then, other than that, each character has their own special abilities. Rebecca can I honestly have no clue what her ability is. I think it has something to do with heals and crafting them, though I'm not sure. Billy's, on the other hand, is pushing heavy stuff, which is needed to solve certain puzzles and things of that nature. Also, the character you're not currently controlling can also accompany you as you explore your environment and aid you in any battles you may be facing. Though pay close attention to them, because if they die, you will get a game over screen and have to reload a save from the main menu. And let me tell you right now, the AI, dumb as hell. So do not, I repeat, do not rely on them to get themselves out of harm's way, because they won't. They'll just stand there and get swarmed. Instead, use the right stick to take control of them and move them out of the way, or leave them in another room that is free from harm and deal with whatever threats you're facing alone. Now, with that being said, I think now is a perfect time to talk about my gameplay wise. Number 1, fixed camera angles. I'd be lying if I said I love them. I more so tolerate them because of situations like this. Oh my god, I hate the controls. And these situations are not spread out. No, they are quite frequent, though after a while, I did eventually learn to let go of the stick every time the camera angle swapped, though I think this issue could easily be solved with a camera that tracks your movement, kind of like a security camera, since there wouldn't be any abrupt angle changes that flip your movement controls. And speaking of movement controls, I have another point of frustration. I hate how imprecise it is in regards to picking up and or interacting with objects, and at no point in the story is it more frustrating than in this section with this particular puzzle, because no matter how precise you think you are, you're always either too far left or too far right. But enough of this puzzle. I'll have more to say on it in the level design section. Number 2, when it comes to combat, I don't really have an issue with it other than it's kind of slow to aim, shoot, throw. You know, my main issue mainly lies with the AI. It's kind of dumb. You really can't trust them to move out of harm's way. The second you enter an encounter, they're not moving. They're holding their ground. It doesn't matter if the zombies are an arm's length away from them, or God forbid, they run out of ammo, because let me tell you something. If they run out of ammo, they're not swapping weapons. It doesn't matter that they got a fully loaded gun in their inventory. You have to go in and equip it for them. Now, when it comes to boss fights, I don't have any frustrations per se. I more so have disappointments, because to me, all the boss fights feel like regular enemies, but with more health. I mean, like, there's no real differences between them other than visuals. I mean, they all play the same. There's no real unique gameplay mechanics to the fights. Instead, they all boil down to shoot, reposition, shoot, you know? I just wish they were more interactive, like, oh, in order to defeat this boss, you need to lure them into a trap, which makes them vulnerable to a certain type of attack, you know? But whatever. I'll speak more on the more memorable boss fights in the level design section. Now, with that being said, let's get into the minor league frustrations. Number 1, being sent back to the main menu when you die. Now, this isn't like a big problem, especially if you don't die that much, but if you do die a lot, it can get quite annoying. It's like there's like an extra step to load your game by like being sent back to the main menu. Like, you really couldn't just put in like a button that says reload last save, really? And it's kind of like discouraging to continue because I'm already in the main menu. I'm already annoyed. I'm like, fuck this. I'm done. Bye. And I turn off the game. All right, number 2, no storage boxes. I don't know if storage boxes are like a new thing to this franchise, but it's kind of like I think I kind of like missed it a lot, because like I just want to like access my stuff in a storage box from every safe room. I'm not really a big fan of like leaving my stuff on the floor in random locations that I have to backtrack to just to get this item that I don't need immediately. So, yeah. Like the majority of Resident Evil games, Zero has 3 main sections, 3 main areas. First of which is the train. Now, this section can be quite short, though it depends on the person. For example, for me, it took 2 to 3 hours to complete it, though I'm sure if you know what you're doing and where you're going, this section won't last you more than 30 minutes. Though if you're like me, and this is your first time playing a classic style Resident Evil game, don't expect this game to teach you how to play or hold your hand, because it won't. It'll quite literally shove you right into the deep end, which low-key I love, because anytime I figured out anything or discovered something, I felt an immense amount of accomplishment. Though I doubt this was Capcom's intention. I think they assumed that if you're playing this game, you've already played a Resident Evil game before, so there's no reason to teach you how to play. In fact, the only quote-unquote tutorial this game gives you is on the 2 character system, and even then, it really only tells you how to switch characters. Though immediately after this quote-unquote tutorial, you do encounter the first puzzle of the game, and I think this puzzle does a great job at showing you the whole gameplay loop without making it feel like a tutorial. Now, there are 2 other puzzles, which, if we're being honest, there's nothing really special about them, especially the second one you encounter, because it is quite simple and straightforward to solve. You really only need to find these 2 pieces, plug it into a briefcase, boom, you're done. Now the third is a little more challenging, since you are on a timer and you gotta do some mental math to solve it. Now, as far as boss fights are concerned, this section provides 2, the Slugman and the Scorpion. The Scorpion of which is the most memorable, though they both play out the exact same. You stand in place and you shoot. There's no ducking, there's no weaving, none of that. And since there's nothing much else to say about it, I think we can move on and talk about the train layout, which is surprisingly pretty good. I didn't expect this section to be so layered and varied. You know, I thought it would be pretty linear with identical rooms, but I was wrong. Also, I think the way they logged off certain sections and how do you find workarounds to go into them was pretty well done. Now, with that being said, let's move on to section 2. The mansion is by far the largest section in the game, which makes sense. This is the main attraction. Though, before we get into the mansion's layout, let's talk about the new things this section brings. First off, let's begin with the character-specific puzzles. And by character, I mean Billy. Rebecca really has nothing. She's more of a team player, but let's get back to Billy. Billy has a unique ability to push heavy objects. Now, Rebecca can still push objects, just not heavy ones, like this crank or bookshelf. Now, outside of these character ability puzzles, there are 2 other puzzles that only Billy can solve. The first one requires Billy's personal item, an item which cannot be dropped or swapped between characters. This item is used to open a door. Now, the second puzzle does require teamwork. Rebecca is needed to fetch an item while Billy uses his piano skills to play a song on, you guessed it, a piano. Now, while on the topic of puzzles, I want to talk about one puzzle I disliked. Not because it was difficult, but because in this room, due to the camera placement / angle, the whole second half of the room, which can only be accessed through this ledge, is completely obscured, so I don't know it exists. And it is here where a key puzzle item happens to be. So I ended up spending maybe 30 minutes to an hour searching all over for this item, and the only way I learned of its existence is by watching a YouTube guide. And I want to point out, the map is completely and utterly useless, because the map would tell me I cleared out every room when I clearly didn't. So that didn't help, it just left me more confused. Also, another reason I hate this puzzle is because of this. I hate fiddling with the fucking positioning. It's so annoying. Whatever. I've already talked about this already, so let's move on. I want to talk about the enemies, but before I can do that, I gotta talk about the mansion layout, which I gotta tell you, it was perfect. Perfect. Everything down to the last minute details. I love how there's a minimal amount of backtracking. You see, I would leave everything in the main lobby, which is in the dead center of the map, and from there, everything is so evenly spread out, so the backtracking doesn't feel bad or long, since you can access every section of the map from there. Now, when it comes to a flaw, there's really none other than enemy distribution, and that's not really a layout thing. Now, when I talk about enemy distribution, I'm mainly talking about these assholes because they're not spread out the mansion. No, all 7 or 6 of them are found in this section and this section, in every room. And if you played this game before, you know just one of these assholes is a pain, is a nuisance, and if you're playing this game or thinking of playing this game, try and avoid fighting as many of them as you can. It's quite simply not worth the ammo. With that being said, let's move on. There are a total of 2 boss fights in this section. Number 1, the Bat. Now the Bat is pretty easy. I don't foresee anyone losing to this fight. Unless you have no ammo, no health, you cannot lose to this fight. Now number 2, the Bat. That is a different story. The Bat is quite challenging. If you don't have any grenade launcher ammo saved up, you're not gonna have a fun time. So I recommend saving as much of it as humanly possible, because it'll save you years on your life. Other than that, there's nothing else much to say. So let's move on to... I'll be honest, the lab is my least favorite section in the game. Visually, it's boring. Gameplay wise, it's boring. The puzzles aren't anything challenging. It's just they take a minute to complete. Like this box puzzle where you have to shove these boxes out of the way so this gate can turn. Genuinely, it takes so long. It's so dumb. Enemies, I don't think there's any new enemies that are introduced here. I could be wrong. I could be blanking. If I am, I'll just flash their character on screen. Backtracking, it's whatever. Though, make sure you bring the harpoon with you down to this section, because if you do not, you're gonna have to do an immense amount of backtracking just to grab it. So I don't recommend, or I recommend keeping it on you. Boss fights. There's really only one, which is the final boss. The final boss is somewhat special, but not really. It's kind of the same thing. Rebecca, her AI will automatically run to these different switches to flick them down and open this ceiling, which, because Slugman is allergic to light, you have to keep his attention by shooting him. He's just running around and shooting. Other than that, he's pretty easy, or he's not too difficult. I mean, I don't know about easy, but yeah, that's the lab. When it comes to the story, I don't want to get too spoilery. I do think this is a game worth experiencing. This is a story worth experiencing, whether you play the game yourself or you watch a gameplay or walkthrough on YouTube. So instead of going through the story beat by beat, I'm mainly gonna sum up the intro of the game, the main hook of the game, and if what you hear and see interests you enough, I do recommend playing this game and trying it out for yourself. So with that being said, let's get into it. As the title of the game implies, this is a prequel to Resident Evil 1. This game takes place, I believe, a few hours, if not a day, before the first game. However, unlike the first game, you're not playing as Jill Valentine or Chris Redfield. Instead, you're playing the youngest and newest STARS member, Rebecca Chambers, along with escaped convict Billy Coens. Our story begins with the STARS Bravo team taking a helicopter ride over the Arklane Forest in order to investigate the recent grisly murders in the area. Though, unluckily for them, their helicopter comes crashing down and coincidentally lands next to a wrecked military jeep that is carrying the convicted convict Billy Coens. Though, since he is seemingly missing from the wreckage, the team splits up and begins their search for him. This search leads Rebecca to the seemingly abandoned Elliptic Express train. It is here where she not only first encounters zombies, but also the escapee Billy Coens. And at first they are hesitant to work with one another, but after some encounters with the undead and a mysterious singing man, they decided it is in their best interest to work together. Though as soon as they come to this understanding, Albert Wesker and Birkin No Bag start the train back up in hopes to get it into an accident in order to hide this evidence and cover up this incident. And just like that, that is the intro. I'm gonna stop here because, yet again, if you're interested, I do recommend experiencing this, right? Now, the story isn't anything like too, oh my god, like elaborate, astonishing, incredible writing. It's, you know, it's a basic story. It's nothing that really that special. Like, if you really wanted to, you could actually avoid this game and not be lost or not be confused. Though I do have some questions for those who know this franchise and have played this and have played every single one of these games. What happens to Rebecca after this game? I know she's in this game, and I know she's in one, and I think she's in a few movies. Why has Capcom like never brought her back? Like, why? Like I think Rebecca was a great character. Sure, the acting wasn't the best, but you know, it's like, this is what, 2002? Acting in games weren't that best. So, why haven't they brought her back? Honestly, like, that's a genuine question. Same thing with Billy Cohen's. Whatever happened to him? Did he just live as a hillbilly in the woods? You know, off the grid? Other than that, I don't think I have anything else to say about the story. I mean, the story is somewhat to be desired. You know, there's nothing like groundbreaking. I do think this game could benefit from a remake that could really like spice up the story, really actually give a reason for its existence, because like this story really doesn't add anything that much that we didn't already get revealed in 1 and in 2. So yeah, with that being said, that concludes the review. I know this video took a while to come out. I intended this video to come out a while ago, but I got busy and lazy, I'll admit that. Though next week I do plan on releasing a different video, a first impressions video for Uncharted. It is my first time playing that game and I want to review it, and yeah, that's the next one that's coming out. And then it's probably going to be Rebirth, because I know I need to review that game. I already have a lot of notes for that game, and I might start building out a review for both. So it might be a first impressions video for Uncharted, then the review for Rebirth, then the review for Uncharted. I don't know though. It might be flipped, it might not be. Who knows? We'll see. Bye.